All right, let's go. All right, Tim, let's go.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody in here in Canada.
That's right.
It's right.
Comes early here.
And Dad, so you've been watching a lot of baseball and a lot of preseason hockey. So what have you noticed in the hockey so far?
I've noticed one thing, that if you feel a stick on your back, if you're a player, fall down. I don't care where you are, fall down. And they're biting on that. And if they're really biting on the one, if you turn towards the boards and you know a guy's coming, in an exhibition game they won't do much, and they go to take you out, fall in first and turn your head to the side. The kids, you don't do this, and they'll call that every time. They don't call it a 5-minute major anymore. They just call it.
This is Sunday morning, and watching the Detroit Toronto game last night. Some of the penalties,
that's just exhibition game.
Well, so that's what I said. I don't care so much how the refs call exhibition. I don't care too much the regular season, as long as they leave the playoffs alone.
Yeah, and during the season, and they'll call those phantom calls, but I'm predicting they're not going to call those calls.
I hope not. So what did you think of Crosby getting in a fight the other night?
Yeah, he did pretty good too. The guy he fought, he says, two guys come together. Like I saw the game.
Yeah, he thought it was a dirty hit behind the net.
Yeah, but anyhow, the guy said, what are you doing fighting?
I imagine the guy, he drops his gloves to me with Crosby, what do you do? What happens if you really hit him and knocked him out or whatever?
Yeah, Crosby was doing pretty good.
Yeah, the guy fell. He was on top of him, and he was doing a ground and pound.
So can I ask you, were you ever worried in exhibition games? Because Harry made you guys play a lot of exhibition games to get money.
We played. It's a funny thing, eh? I was thinking about this myself. The reason we got off to a good start all the time is that I made everybody play the exhibition games. I didn't do like they do now. They like that. They like that with the Rattel was playing every game, but I'd rest him. Well, we didn't practice.
Right. Well, back for the one time because of Park.
Oh, the last play of the game. I think we were in Nova Scotia somewhere, Halifax, I guess. I don't know. And the last play of the game, he caught his foot in a rut.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Were you ever worried about players getting hurt?
No, we never. They played up until about 3/4 of the time. They did not want to go full out, because if you go full out, you couldn't play all the games. And I had guys play all the game. That's why. By the way, that's why we always started out really good. Always started out really good, because I made them play all the games. And I remember one time, you're only supposed to play 8 games, right? And Harry came to me and he said, you got to have Park play. I got to have Park and a few guys play. I think about 3 guys. They played their 8 games. And I said, don't worry, don't. And I said, go and listen. He said, well, we played our 8 games. I said, well, play the 9th game. We'll get $500 off of Harry. We'll go and have a party.
So tell about the exhibition game where, I forget where you were, where Bobby Orr played, and the referee threw him out.
That was the strangest thing of all. It was in Province, our last game, and I forget who it was. I forget the referee who it was. Anyhow, he threw. They had gotten a fight in the first minute or something like that. And imagine Bobby Orr fighting
in an exhibition game. Bobby Orr fighting. Nice.
Yeah. So figure that one out. So anyhow, he's in having a shower. And
the ref threw him out of the game.
Oh,
right?
threw him out of the game. Yeah.
So can I ask you, was Bobby that upset?
Upset. He was in having a shower. And I look up, and there comes the owner running down. He says, he went to the referee. He says, are you nuts? He says, we'll have a riot here. You throwing him out of the game the first minute. So the referee come over to me, and he asked me to go in and get Bobby back in the game. Honest to God.
So what'd you do?
So I had to go back, and Bobby was taking a shower. I said, "You got to play the rest of the game." He said, "You're kidding." He said to me, "You're kidding." I said, "No." I said, "The referee came to me, and this is." Yeah, I said, "They're going to have a riot out there if you don't play the rest of the game." So he had to dry himself off, play the rest of the game. That was the funniest one of all.
Because you remember back then, Cindy, like, it's not like now where people see, let's say, like McDavid or whoever. They'll see highlight after highlight after highlight and everything. You know, back in the 70s, you only saw one game, maybe 2 a week. You saw very few highlights. So for the people in Providence to see Bobby Orr,
they went there to see Bobby Orr play.
it was a big deal.
That's right.
That's why they went there. They didn't come.
And the referee threw him out in the first minute.
And he threw him out in the first minute, and he's in and having a shower. He's happy as pig in mud, and he's in having a shower, and I have to go in and tell him I got to play the rest of the game. Imagine that. You're kidding. I remember him saying, "I said, honest, Bobby, we're going to have a riot out there if you don't play." And he did play. Now, how do we get into that one?
Well, I'll just talk about exhibition games because, like, I was thinking about you because last night the Leafs played Detroit, and it was the last game of the season, or preseason, and Detroit had pretty much their full lineup, and the Leafs didn't have any of their guys dressed really. No. And I thought, like, if that was you, you would have had the full.
I had the full team, and that's why we got off to like I said earlier. That's why we got off to a great start. The rest of the guys did what Toronto did, played games and everything. We kind of died.
So why do they do that? What do they think they're resting their stars
don't
or
ask
something?
me.
Or what's the theory of
Well,
the
they
coach?
want to see how guys have fit in. And I would play the guys. I would put the lines together at the start of the training camp and leave them together the whole time.
Right, but you always had like almost one rookie every year because you had Bobby Miller the one year, you had Al Secord the one year, you had Stan Jonathan the one year, and all those guys got over 10 goals and played pretty regular.
Bobby Miller got 20 goals. Remember
he got 20 goals. Stan got 16 goals and had the best percentage shooting and thing. And Al Secord, I think he had like 10 or 15 goals, and he ended up being a 50-goal scorer. So it wasn't like you didn't always have a rookie.
Oh no, but the big thing was that I put the lines together, and they loved it. If one would get hurt, the rookie would move up into his spot, but he knew he was going back again. That's why. I know the guys in Rochester never liked me, and when Boston would lose, I found out that they'd all cheer, and it was because I wasn't bringing them up. And the reason I wasn't bringing them up, the reason was, if they had the MVP guy down there, Dougie Gibson, and I know I've said this before, but what was I going to do? Bring him up to kill penalties? I mean, it didn't make any sense.
So we watched a lot of the Leafs because we're in Toronto. So what's your final assessment of the preseason going into the regular season?
I think that
you said this a couple of times to me. They better be careful. The one guy you say don't get rid of.
Don't get rid of that Martin Jones. The guy, they got him on waivers. I don't know. I think somebody's going to pick him up because they won that game in Montreal. There's no way they should have won that game in Montreal.
No, the two Leaf goalies, the Wall and Samsonov, they haven't looked impressive at all.
They've looked okay. They haven't looked terrific, but he looked terrific in Montreal.
Cindy and Dad, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Spreads.ca. They're a Canadian-owned online casino and sportsbook, and if you sign up now and use the promo GRAPES, they'll match your deposit up to $250. You get 10 spins on the big wheel. If you get 3 of your jackets, you get some big dough. And your first sports bet, they spot you $25. And hockey's coming up, so if you think you know what you're talking about, put your money where your mouth is, right?
Well, no, I think we should talk about the Blue Jays a little bit. And well, Tim, I feel sorry for that Atkins guy. He made one slip of the tongue, and when you're with these guys, you got to remember that the reporters are after to get you. He said, when he said, well, I was surprised. And when he said it, I was surprised.
Well, he was surprised that Schneider took out.
Yeah, Schneider was taken out, and I was surprised that he was taken out. But not to go along and stick up for and be one of those guys and everything. But if you've noticed, in the 6th or 7th inning, he always coughs it up. And I know it's hard to take a guy out when he's full of bullets like these full of bullets.
Yeah, but Dad, like that's like everybody's kind of second guessing the guy now, right? Everybody's second guessing Schneider and all that. And when Schneider took out Barreros, Buck Martinez, who knows what he's talking about, because he's been a catcher, so he knows. He just said, "I can't believe he's doing this," and he thinks he should have been in there.
Well, all I'm saying is, if you've watched every game, about the 6th inning, he coughs up. He always gets pulled after he gets behind, and I still say, I'm not sticking up for Schneider. I'm not sticking up for him, but.
So let me ask you another question about that. So he starts Gosman, right? And because he's kind of their ace.
I wouldn't have started him.
But he gets pounded by the Twins.
I wouldn't have started him. And I know it throws off their pitching routine and all that stuff and everything, but I would never have started him.
And it's funny how some players play better in some places. Like Cheevers used to play great in Philadelphia, and he used to play great in Pittsburgh.
I don't know why. I can't
explain it. Maybe did you let him go to the track or something?
I have no idea why they played that way. But in Atlanta, if he played in Atlanta, look out. They're going back to Atlanta too.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Now they're talking about Reno.
And 10,000 other places too.
Except for Quebec.
Yeah. If they went into Quebec, they'd have one of the greatest rivalries of all time. It would
be like Red Sox, Yankees.
It would be
Bills,
worse, 10 times worse than them, and because they really hate each other. I mean, they really.
Times have changed, Dad.
Yes, times have changed. Yeah.
Dad, I don't know. I know hockey culture, but I don't know baseball culture. But I did see when the Blue Jays went crazy on the field when they got that in and they squeezed into
back
whatever.
Then, too.
Whenever they call, I don't know, this wild card. And I'm thinking to myself, did I miss the playoff? Did they win something big? So did they go a little overboard in celebrating?
I can't remember. I went to the finals twice against the greatest team that ever existed was 76 Canadians. I don't remember ever guys going nuts like that after a game.
Why were they so happy?
Certainly not like that. And they backed in. That's what got me. They backed in.
It's like in hockey, like don't touch the Campbell or the Prince of Wales.
Well,
they don't skate around with it or anything. It's just like, we got 4 more games to win. It was embarrassing. It really was.
The thing that got me is they backed into it too. They didn't even win it. They had won the game, it would have been different.
And then you blink and they're gone.
Yeah, they score 1 run in 18. You know what? It's almost like karma. They act like that. And then they score 1 run in 18 innings.
Yeah.
So you can blame Schneider for changing the pitch. It doesn't make a difference. They're not going to win anyway.
Yeah, I guess
so
not.
Can I ask you, do you believe in that in the beginning of the playoffs or whatever they call it now, the best out of 3?
No, I hate those two. I hate those 2 out of 3s. Tim.
Yeah, I mean that's what sunk you in your first year with the
My
Bruins.
first year in Boston was we played 2 out of 3. We hammered Tony Esposito, Phil's brother, 8-2 or something like that, and then and they had in the paper, he's finished, he shouldn't be playing, and all that. I said, oh boy.
And then you went into overtime in game 2. Yeah. And Ivan Boldarev scored the overtime winner. Yeah. So now you're going back to Boston.
By the way, I have to tell you a story. He says, hey, my name is, he was eating with 4 guys, I remember for breakfast, and he says, hey, Grapes, he says, my name is Ivan, but I'm Canadian. Anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that in.
So let me ask you, and then what happened was, of course, Bruins outshoot Chicago like 50-12 or something like that.
52. I remember, Tim, it was 52 to 18.
And Gilly, they lost pretty handily. And, when you look at the Blue Jays, and they're 2 guys, Bo and Vladdy Jr., I mean, they played awful in the playoffs, and the guy to get picked off at second. Yeah. When they're trying to tie it up.
I would trade him.
And you look at Harry. right after you guys lost. I mean, that was the biggest trade in hockey history, if not sports industry. He took the nerve and said, "We're not going to win with this team. We got to trade." And I just wonder if the Jays management has the nerve to trade Vladdy or Bo to say we're not winning with them. But what was the conversation like with you and Harry Sinden when you said, "I want to get rid of Phil"? To put it in perspective,
I think it was my idea to say we're not winning with these guys because they were happy, dumb, and lazy. That they'd scored. I don't know.
Phil, the year you traded him, he had 65 goals. And the year before that, he had 77.
Yeah.
Remember, they said he had a bad year.
Yeah. They said, well, you've really gone down. 65 goals?
And then you go to the GM and say, get rid of him.
And Harry was the guy that took all the heat from it. And I remember Bobby coming on I'm going off on another tangent here. I remember him. That was his game coming back. And Park and Orr came in Vancouver. God, I said to Harry, we lost 5-3, I think it was. And I said, Harry, I saw something. I said, Harry, he says, well, you better see something, he said, because if it doesn't go, he says, we're both gone. And
well, that's a gutsy move on his part. I mean, if
he
it
had a
blew
lot
up
of
in
guts.
his face, he might not have ever got another job.
Yeah, that was a tough. Harry didn't care though. I mean, he did what was right. He really did what was right. He's the guy who took all the flack for it. And I remember in the cartoon in the paper, it had one guy with the knee gone and the other guy with the shoulder or the back gone. That was
John
it.
Rattel had a bad back.
yeah,
and Brad Park had a bad knee.
Yeah, and Harry and Emile Francis with his looked like a crook was taken. Harry took all the credit, I guess, or what do you call
Crap.
it? Crap for that trade, and it turned out a good job. We did do it.
You know, we as you said, Cindy, like that's not a hockey culture thing.
Oh,
right?
no. You got to know the hockey culture is
like,
totally different.
Guys acting like that. I mean, but you got a taste of what baseball culture was when you went to visit Larry Walker in Colorado. You and Ron.
We went day of a game. We went there early because and we were sitting in the stands, and then he saw us up there, and he called us down. So we sat in the dugout there, and we were nervous. How many guys get in the dugout? So then he says, "Come on, let's go in the dressing room." And I said, "Oh no, geez, you guys getting ready for the game?" He turns to me, he says, "Don, this isn't hockey." So we went in the dressing room, and you can't believe the food. Food was going from one end, and the size of the dressing room were unbelievable. We walked along, and then we came to the batting cage. And he said, "Well, let's see how you guys can do." So I let Ron go first, and Ron got up. He swung at the first pitch, and the bat. Bing, bing. He left his hands and went bing, 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 bing. And, it up in the ceiling, ball all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah. So then we went back.
What did Larry Walker do when he saw Ron swing the bat, let the bat go halfway down the cage?
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
And he kind of looked at me and said he never played ball. And he did. And Ron did play ball. He was a good ball player. He looked like a ball player. So anyhow, we walked down, and there was the pitcher. He was in a big swimming pool. And he was just kind of floating around, getting his. And you know what I remember about that game? I remember watching the game, and I said, "Look, they think this was when they used to pitch to the pitcher."
Yeah.
And he had a home run. I said before that, he'll never hit a home run. Bang, right over the wall. What else do you know about it? But anyhow, I never forgot that Larry Walker turned to me when I said to him, "Well, you're getting ready for the game." He says, yeah. He turned to me and he said, "This is not hockey."